Okay, hey everybody, welcome to this evening's stream. This evening we're continuing our look at our starter games that we have available in Crayta. This week we're going to be looking at the target practice. So target practice is kind of like a time trial race that we showed on Friday where you're racing your own time. So it makes it a perfect game for kind of drop in, drop out single player aspects. But the added kind of extra thing here is that you have to shoot targets along the way. So we'll be setting up kind of a bit of like a kind of race, a running race with these targets. I'm joined by Adam and Maggie this week. So if you guys want to say hello.
Hello. And I'm sure Maggie's there too.
Maggie's there.
I am.
Oh, you could probably hear that music. That's Adam just having a little dance. So you might have guessed maybe by the fact we're all dressed as in our kind of cool Crayta cowboy outfits this week. We're going to kind of do this in a Western theme, so we thought it might be quite interesting to all dress up as the various kind of variants of cowboy or cowgirl. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is go and create our game. So let's go to our create page. You see here target practice, and this one we have target practice. It's a shooting range. Players race to hit all the targets the fastest and then get to the finish line. This is an example of one of our starter games that actually also comes with a full example. So we could choose to go for this Castle Crusade option, which would actually give us the same logic the starter game is going to give us, but actually then give us a full map, which is set in kind of like a magic castle setting with kind of specific things added to the gameplay. So one thing we do offer when you're kind of doing your game creation, especially as you're learning Crayta and you're starting to get to grips with how games come together, you will be able to use these sorts of things to get a full game, full example to actually start picking apart and using however you'd like to. But what I'm going to do is just go back to our kind of basic version, which gives us the bare minimal gameplay that we can start adjusting. We're going to call this Train Runner, but again, let's see if chat can come up with a better name than that. That's not great. Take a picture.
I'll be surprised if someone can't think of a better name than Train Runner.
Thanks. Cool. Okay, getting created.
Not like I helped.
No, no. You've only had all day to think of a better name.
I didn't even come up with that. You did.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
I got nothing.
Cool. Okay. As always, chat. If you do have any suggestions of anything you'd like to see as make or any questions or that sort of thing, then do make sure you shout them out. We've got quite a busy squad of mods ready to start answering questions. Okay, so I'm going to go to my sharing options here. And today we've got Adam and Maggie. Okay, so these guys should join me in game any second.
Train Runner. That's a rubbish name. Someone should come up with something better.
Jägerin,
oh no, sorry, it's the perfect name.
Jägerin's agreeing. He says it's the perfect name. Interesting that he said it's the perfect name for the game without seeing what the game is, but
that is interesting.
Hopefully, yeah, that does give you a good idea of what we're looking at here. So, okay, I think first thing we'll do, before we delete too much more terrain, let's just jump into preview and let's just show everybody what sort of gameplay we've got here. So we all start with a gun. This gun is adapted to be slightly different. So it uses the same gun scripts and gun mechanics as a lot of the other weapons, but instead it's got a few properties tweaked that mean it doesn't do any damage to other players. So it's kind of like a non-lethal weapon. Okay, as soon as we cross this checkpoint, we'll see a timer appear at the top. And then it's a case of shooting the targets and crossing the finish line. And then we see that we've now got a recorded personal best, notifications at the side of the time. So as I say, all these things have come with this starter game. And now we're in a position to start building up our own gameplay and our own environment on top of this. Cool. So first things first, I think, Adam, do you want to kind of explain the premise of what you're trying to set up here?
Yeah, so it's going to take me a few minutes to set it up, but basically we're going to be, as you may have guessed, on a train for this game. So we're going to sort of do a bit of visual trickery around the train to make it look like you're on a moving train Whereas what's actually going to be happening is the environment is going to be moving past you really rapidly, and you're going to be on a static train. And it should look pretty cool once we get it going, and it should look like you're just sort of traveling endlessly on this train. And each train carriage is going to be a different sort of setup and a different set of targets for you to get, and at the end you'll be able to cross finish line and get your time. So I'm going to start basically building chunks of terrain that will all scroll past the train, and once they reach the sort of back of the train, then they'll cycle back round to the front and keep going, so it's infinite.
Cool. Yeah, so it's kind of like an infinite runner trick, I guess, is the idea. Which is, it's another interesting way that you can start to make your world look and feel really big, without having to physically build a huge world. We can kind of give the illusion that it's an infinite world by recycling the terrain. Okay, so what I'm going to do first then is actually build one of our carriages. I could have used the community tab to have a look for one. I know we've got a couple that we've made in the past. I thought this would be quite an interesting one to go through and show you a bit more of actual building kind of entities out of voxels. So let's go for that sort of size and length. So I've created this as its own voxel mesh to start with, which means I'll be able to always kind of move it around and do kind of what I'd like to with it. It doesn't become part of the terrain, it becomes its own entity that I can attach scripts to and kind of treat as a separate thing. Okay, and that's sort of height. I can imagine how that would be. I think maybe go one couple bigger. So that sort of train carriage size. So if I apply that now, and then before I remove this brush, I'm just going to switch to the remove option and adjust my brush to be slightly smaller. Actually, and what that'll let me do is kind of hollow out this box. So if I just select kind of a couple less on this dimension here at the top, so 22, 50, and 14. That's now defined a brush which is just that little bit smaller. So if I apply that now, we can see Maggie's already ended up inside the train. He's hanging out. Cool. So that's our kind of hollowed out box. Adam starts to build his terrain up. Okay, so next, I guess we're going to want some windows. So let's use the shape tool again with the remove option and pull out some windows like that. Let's move the brush down a touch. Okay, then what we can do now is press enter to apply and then just slide this along. And if I press V on the keyboard, it'll actually put this grid in place, which is a really nice way of lining things up. Perfect. Cool. So yeah, do you want to let Maggie know, Adam, when you're good to go?
Yeah, so Maggie, you should be all right to start decorating these first 4 terrain slices. I'm going to start working on the script that like scrolls them, and obviously we'll add a few more, but we can basically just start chucking some of the Western Frontiers meshes onto them now.
Nice.
The cacti and the red rocks look particularly nice.
Cool. We should have some Wild West music as well.
We should.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should that go on a bit later on?
Yeah.
So that it doesn't drive us mad.
Fair.
Okay, I'm going to start work on the script that actually scrolls these pieces around now. So as long as all the decoration is a child of the moving terrain piece, it should move with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess you can kind of keep them all together. Should create quite a nice effect. So, okay, there's the beginnings of a carriage. It's got some windows in place. So as I say, because this is its separate sort of voxel mesh, I'm able to pull it around and kind of adjust it as I'd like. Get an idea in basic mode, have a look around, sort of get an idea of the dimensions. Okay, it's actually quite handy having Maggie's character inside to kind of work with those dimensions actually. Okay, right, next I want to add a little bit of a roof to this. So let's create another voxel mesh. And we'll call this train roof slope. Okay, by setting up these voxel meshes again, it allows us to rotate them off the grid. Okay, something like that. Have a look at what here we want. Maybe a corrugated iron, I think looks quite good. Okay, so now we can rotate this. Maybe just lessen that rotation slightly. Let's go for about 30 degrees. Right. There we go. Okay, and now we can just simply copy and paste in here. Spin that one around. Okay, try and line those things up.
Start to come together. I can see that it should be a carriage.
Yeah, kind of carriage-like. Okay, so what I might just do is make a duplicate of this one, make it a little bit smaller. So we'll call this slope smaller. And again, we'll just copy that to this side. Bring that around. So yeah, so even though we have this voxel grid in place, we're able to kind of create these sort of quite nice looking sloped effects by using those things. Okay, so let's just finish this off now. So we'll fill this area in. Let's just put that there. Screw it up.
I'm not sure if you mentioned already, Russ, but chat should be thinking of some suggestions for later on in this stream.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll do my best to keep an eye on them. But yeah, so any suggestions you guys have as you see the game unfold? Anything you'd like to see added?
No guarantees about making any of them, but we will try to make ones that are reasonable.
Yes.
Right, I shouldn't be a million miles. This terrain stuff actually working now.
No. So we could have a preview at some point soon if you needed to.
Yeah, that might be quite good. Once Maggie's done a little bit more decorating and I set up the properties for it. How's the decorating coming on, Maggie?
Fine, putting rocks down, making it look deserty.
Cool. Okay, the script should work. Oh, I'm just going to move the start position so it's inside the train, Russ. and I shifted your train, so it's central as well.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
In case you wondered what just happened there.
yeah. So I was just looking into something quickly and noticed that my train was in a different place. Okay, so we'll just quickly fill in these edge pieces now.
Okay, so there's some suggestions. There was a suggestion of a mirror feature, which I don't think is currently supported in our system. Because obviously getting sort of real-time reflections like that is a really difficult thing to do. But we can put in some nice reflective voxel materials in some of the carriages, which might help to give that effect.
Yeah. So a mirror in sort of like having like mirrors in the carriage, you mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
There's a suggestion for Wrath the Dragon, but with a cowboy hat.
Oh wow.
Not sure if that's actually a mesh that we have at the moment, but a voxel cowboy hat could be the way forwards. And attacking cow people running beside the train on horseback sounds like a slightly difficult one.
Yeah, that might be a stretch, but you've not let us down so far, Adam.
No.
Maybe we could
No,
get.
thank you.
How about if we just got the wagons, like driving past? With that, like if you could have wagons
The
flying
wagon, yeah.
past in the other direction, or does that start to get a bit messy?
Oh, we could have wagons going past in the other direction.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like a Maggie job for the terrain decoration. Oh, and
What
Maggie, don't.
wagons?
Huh?
The wagons?
Yeah. And don't
Yeah.
worry about a mesh spilling between two of the like plates. As long as it's a child of one, it should still give the right illusion.
Right. Okay.
So Russ, I'm going to take 0 in the X direction to be our like absolute back limit here. So we might generally want to move the train forwards once we start to play around with it.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Cool. Right. So we've got starting to look like a bit of a train carriage. What do we want next? We want some windows. So we can go to our meshes now, and this is a nice example of where we can start to combine our voxel meshes, and our voxels, and then the meshes themselves. They kind of work together quite nicely. So, look at that! I guessed this window dimension perfectly. So put one of those there. And then again, just in case of copy and pasting them across. Fill the gaps.
Is there a way you can make a couple of them look closed, maybe?
Oh yes, we have got some. Maybe if I delete those
Just for a bit of variation.
Yep, so we have this shuttered version.
You could just change the mesh on them, right, rather than deleting them.
It's true.
From the properties.
Yes, I could do.
Oh well.
Yeah,
it's too
late.
But yeah,
that would be the much smarter way of doing it. Yeah, so I guess just to reinforce what Adam was saying, so this window here, if I wanted this one to be closed, I could just scroll over to the properties over here and see. Look for the version of it that's closed, which is called Window Farmhouse. There we go. Okay, so we've got this nice sort of variation on this here.
I just unlocked a new outfit.
Ooh.
Nice. But I'm staying as a cowboy for this because, you've got to be relevant to the theme.
Fair.
Okay, copy and paste all these across.
Maggie, do you mind if I just throw down a couple of cacti on all the other?
Go for it. I'm just putting bones down now.
Cool. Yeah, no, they look nice. I'll just throw down a couple so that we can see the movement if we
Yep.
preview it soon.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully I'll kind of have something together quite soon. We go for a slightly pale floorboard look inside.
Oh, Maggie, you might want to watch out that you don't put stuff in the path of the train.
It's a good point.
Oh yes, yes. It needs to be fairly. We do need a track adding as well at some point.
Actually,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I'll get onto the track.
Sure. I'll start moving some cactuses about.
Once I've done the track, so I'll just edit the voxel mesh on one of the slices, and because it's a voxel mesh asset, that'll get copied to all of the slices, so you'll see where the track appears then.
Cool.
And then you'll be able to remove as appropriate. Do you mind if I move your carriage up slightly, Russ?
Yeah, go for it.
Boop. There. I think it's now, yeah, it's 1.5 meters above the floor. Which, once we've got the tracks on, sounds about right.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be pretty good. Do you have any TNT for decorative purposes, of course? There is a TNT mesh. I'm not sure how we'd quite fit it into gameplay though.
I mean, we have got an exploding barrel.
We have, but yeah, I'm not sure how that would fit into the gameplay, because if this is a sort of independent race for each person that plays, I'm just trying to think.
See tracks going down?
Yeah, do you see how they get like replicated to every chunk?
That was cool.
So then when I extrude this one, bim. And there's our tracks. Nat says decorative TNT. Not sure that excuse would fly with the police, to be honest. It was just decorative, officer.
Yeah, I promise this is just my decorative TNT.
You want to see my real TNT?
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so now I've added this door to here. Actually, it'd be useful if this door was open when we kind of get the gameplay started. So let's go. So door. Let's add a new script. Okay, we'll call this default animation script. So we could maybe use this in other places if we need. So this door is one of our meshes which comes with animation properties. So if we kind of hover over this, you might just see that if I just hide some bits. Okay, yeah, so you should see that now. We kind of have closed, closing, open, opening as 4 animations available on this door. So open and close would kind of put it straight into its final state, or closing and opening would actually play the animation of it opening and closing. Various other things come with different things like activate, on things like the windmill perhaps, and that sort of stuff. So we're going to use that here for our script. So if I just open this script up, okay, hopefully you guys can see that okay. So what I want to do is specify a default property here, which will be default animation. Oh, I see Adam's jumped in to help me. So yeah, Adam, if you could just basically do the play in this animation, that'd be good.
It auto-filled in way too much there.
Cool. Okay. So for anyone who hasn't seen this before, all of the sort of game logic is written using Lua in our code editor, which is available as part of the Crayta editor. You don't have to go anywhere sort of external to Crayta to do this coding, and it all happens in kind of real-time collaboration as well. So Adam's here and he's just written this line for me to take this string and play that animation on init, which basically means that when this is built, when we play the game and this entity is kind of created by the game engine, we're going to fire this script, and this script is going to take this property over here, which we'll call opening, and it's going to play that animation. So quite a simple little script, but again, just give you an idea of how the collaboration works inside of Crayta.
There we go, Maggie. Train tracks.
Loving the tracks. Just noticed moving bones out of the way.
Okay, let's template this door up.
Rob said, "Where are the babies?"
Where
Is
are
this
the
more
babies?
of your meat baby nonsense? Maggie, this is your fault.
Oh, maybe.
Well, you and Sean.
I can't wait to see what people make.
I hope it's not anything like that.
I
I'm sure
hope
it
it's
will
everything
be.
like that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, on that thought, that's actually always an interesting point of conversation. So if anyone in chat has any of their kind of game ideas, like what sort of things are you guys in chat thinking about making when you get your hands on Crayta?
Yeah.
Right, Russ, when you're fairly happy with your carriage,
Yeah.
or the top of the carriage anyway, we could have a quick preview and see if the
Yeah.
environment works.
Yeah, if I just move the spawn into the carriage, we can go from there.
Yeah, I've done that.
You've done that? Cool. One step ahead of
Yeah.
me. Okay, yeah, let's go for it. So the gameplay won't necessarily work because we won't see the targets and stuff, but yeah, let's have a look, see if your stuff's working here.
Fingers crossed.
Let's go.
Press it.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd.
Sorry.
I was leaving it for you. Right, here we go. Here we go.
Wow.
It's
It's a bit
something's
of a
wrong.
slow train. Wait.
Something's definitely wrong.
Okay. I mean, hopefully people get the idea. That looks like it's doing what it's supposed to.
Sort of sliding towards us, but then stopping. Okay, right, let's go back. I will go and fix.
Cool.
Close, in a way.
Yeah, it wasn't far off.
I will start decorating this carriage.
Yeah,
so
if you want to start
this
fitting stuff in, that'd be good.
Yeah. Is this like the fancy one?
Yeah, so if you just stick to meshes and things for now, in fact,
Yeah, I'll do that.
tell you what I might do before you place anything down. I'm going to create a template of it now, because then we can use this as a starting point for the next couple.
That's a good idea.
Good idea.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you can do to this one as you wish.
Cool.
I might add a few more things, which will go on all of them, but yeah, go for it.
Will do.
What's up with my terrain? Why doesn't it want to work? Oh, I see. I was being dumb, is the answer.
Yeah, that would do it.
So, yeah.
Okay, well, we can always have a preview again soon, if you'd need to. Maybe once I've got another carriage just next to this one, we could have a go at that.
Yeah, sure. I'll just do a solo preview so I don't disturb you guys and just check it works.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Do you want to just explain kind of what solo preview does?
Yeah, sure. So obviously when we press play normally, it takes everyone to play instantly. So, that might be a bit annoying if someone's still trying to work on one of the features. So the solo preview is just basically a toggle you can put on the preview button, which means that it starts up a new preview server just for you. so that you can actually preview separately while other people are still editing. And the nice thing about that is I'm now in the solo preview, but Russ could make a change and I could reload my solo preview and get Russ's change. So I could keep testing while Russ keeps iterating the design, which would be quite a handy feature.
Yeah, so I guess you can basically then end up with kind of a team of testers who are kind of constantly in the preview state of the game. And then whenever someone who's developing the game at that time makes a change, they can push it forward, and you can really speed up the iteration loop. I mean, it's really kind of crazy how fast you can make games as it is, but having that kind of even faster little iteration loops pretty cool.
So spoilers, it works now.
Sweet.
The code was fine. I just put in the wrong numbers because I didn't really look at what positions I was supposed to be using.
Right. Yeah.
So,
again, I guess that's kind of testament to how quick you can iterate. You don't necessarily have to commit to specific numbers. It's nice to just sometimes get some code together, get into preview, have a look, see if it worked, work out the issues, and then that almost ends up being a quicker way of doing things sometimes.
Okay, I'm gonna help Maggie out a bit with the decorating of the terrain now.
Yeah.
Nice way of doing that actually is just going to the library and then choosing the Western Frontiers filter, because that basically just gives us all the stuff that we actually care about.
Yeah, just one of everything, please.
Mm-hmm.
We use these jailbreak pipes as our kind of train connecting points. I think that would do for now.
Oh, that's the other thing I was going to do. I was going to make wheels on the bottom of your train template.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I think I'll make them as a separate voxel mesh or something so that they can just be the same across all the trains.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, and let's just build. What I should be able to do is take, where's my train here? So I've got all these posts and things I've just placed. So if I copy and paste, there we go. I'll just shift a couple of these back into position. Cool. Okay, so there's a bit of a carriage area at the end of each side.
Got to have some of the classic Western Frontiers windmills.
Yep, and you've got that default animation script you could use if you wanted to get them to actually.
That's a good point.
Get spinning.
I'm going to call it spinning windmill and make it a template so it's easier to stamp down.
Cool. First little peek up. Ooh, nice. Getting some. This is the very first class fancy carriage. One thing you need to think about, Maggie, is maybe leaving some spaces for targets. Yeah, plenty of space to run, especially given that it's going to be a crowd of people potentially running through. Which it might add to the chaos, having people jump over tables and stuff. But yeah, if you could add
I won't put too many
plenty of targets and that sort of thing, that'd be good.
Okay. I reckon once you stick the world settings on this, it's going to completely transform it, and I reckon it's going to look quite cool.
Yeah, I think so. Right, okay. So we've got that train together. So what I might start doing now, before I add any more train, just kind of change the pace a bit. I'll get a do some of those world settings now. I apologise as well if anyone can hear the rain. Currently hammering on my house at the minute, but it suddenly feels like the heavens have completely just opened here. So hopefully it's been filtered out.
It's a bit stormy around here at the moment.
Yeah, it's all gone a bit mad, hasn't it?
Mm.
Cool. Okay, so world settings. Let's change some of these. So the world settings again are sort of really kind of quick, simple options that you can change. Things like the time of day, how long the days are, the horizon. Kind of face value. There's some simple things, but then you can even dive quite deep with things like specific sun overrides and kind of layers to the sky. You can add post processors. There's all sorts of things you can do to really get a unique look and feel for your game. So I've got an idea of what I'd aim for here. So let's go for 11 o'clock. We'll pull the sun round about here, so we should be able to see shadows and things start to move eventually. Biodome, I think rainy. Rainy's always a nice one because you get this nice, like, moody-looking, dynamic, kind of animating clouds coming over the top. Okay, let's override our sun. So, as you see, when I click this override sun option, I actually end up with a few more things that I can do. A few more things that I can do here. These options appear. So I can change the intensity. So we'll make it quite intense. Quite a sort of bright scene. But then we can do other things to then sort of bring that intensity down in a different way. So with the colour, perhaps make it less white. And we'll go for a kind of orangey yellow sort of look. So there we see we get this kind of very Western look and feel just by changing the sort of ambient light of the sun.
Oh, I'm going to have to bump your train carriage up a bit more. The wheels don't quite fit.
Gonna have to, yeah. So there's a couple of suggestions been brought up that I can see. So someone's asked if we could see the script for the moving environment. So maybe once we've got a few things together, yeah, we could show you that.
Yeah, it's a nice idea.
And also at Maggie, one for you is to make a bar inside one of the trains.
A bar? Yeah, right. I'll
Like
give that a go.
a Western bar.
Yeah, nice idea.
Okay. I want to add some fog. So I think part of the fog you want to do here is actually for like a gameplay reason, right, Adam? Just to kind of mask that and moving terrain slightly.
Yeah, exactly. So if you add enough fog, then you won't be able to see the edges where it's disappearing, and that will really help to like sell the fact that you're what happened there? Sell the fact that you're like on a moving train rather than the terrain just moving and cycling around you.
Oh, quite intense fog. Yeah, so there we go. We've got quite a thick fog that's come in. Gives you enough to sort of see what's going on in the distance, but you're going to miss that kind of cycle of terrain, and it's going to just sell it a bit more, look a little bit more realistic.
Also makes it look like a sandstorm's going on, which is really cool. And gives you some nice silhouettes of things like the windmills and the trees.
Yeah.
If you position yourself above the track and just look sideways somewhere, it looks really cool.
Again, we'll kind of make this look like almost like the fog's become a sandstorm. I guess that's the kind of look and feel we want to get there.
That may be a bit too yellowy. Do you mind if I just make it a bit more orange?
No, yeah, you go for it, yeah. So again, real-time collaboration. All these changes I'm making are things that the guys are seeing, and they're able to make adjustments, as they want on at the same time. Do you have a mesh for a tumbleweed? I don't know if this is specifically a tumbleweed. There may be some effects that do like ambient wind and things like that. I could have a look for sure. Okay, so I think the last thing I wanted to add just here is the post process for a film grain, which just kind of gives it like this slight fuzz, but almost makes it look a bit like a Western old movie. I think that's the sort of thing we're looking for. Okay, and then finally, in the world settings, I can also adjust the death plane, essentially the death Z. So when a player reaches this point in the Z axis, so up and down, we'll eliminate them. So that's the sort of thing that helps for players falling off worlds and that sort of stuff. In this case, rather than it being a -1000, so right down beneath the terrain, we want it to actually be sat up kind of on the train itself. So I think if we make that 200 for now, that should help. For anyone who falls off the train will get eliminated and respawn back on the train. Okay. Cool, so now we've got that in place. Let's place another carriage down. So before Maggie made any changes and before I added a few more little touches, I did take a template. So let's add another one down, if I can find it. Train carriage. So here we see we've got a whole collection of things we've added that I can now play with and do, you know, what I'd like with. In fact, what I might do is take the one you're working on, Maggie, and
Yeah.
I don't know where Abby came from. Oh, it's
That's new.
this thunder and rain. It's making it hard to think. Okay, so this first carriage, I'm just going to copy that up to template. So what this should do is copy all the changes that have been made to it on this local instance and apply those to the version I've just placed here. So we'll see if that does that. So copy. Okay, so we now see the instance that I placed here is going to receive all those changes, sort of bring it up to speed.
The wheels are proving a little bit more intricate than I expected, but shouldn't take too much longer.
Okay.
I keep seeing them pop up through the floor.
Okay, so I'll place another one here, and I'm actually going to take this one and make some adjustments to it.
Oh, that's nice. Can't believe how quickly they made this look so good. Oh, thank you. When we play it, it'll look even better.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to admit, Crayta has done all the work here, really. You know, it's a really nice toolkit to just start doing all these sorts of things with and getting to just play with it. It doesn't take long before you get an idea, you know, of how quickly you can throw really nice looking environments together. So let me just, I'm going to break the link to the template. So that's going to basically sever this from the template, and it lets me now kind of do what I'd like to it without being worried about how that's going to affect the other ones. And I'm going to call this a coal carriage. So I'm going to have a go at a coal thing. I think someone in chat suggested that sort of thing. I'll also need to make sure that my voxel mesh is a unique copy. Otherwise, we'll end up any changes still affecting the other one. So let's just call this coal carriage. So I think you should add a DeLorean. We do have. So we do have a. See if I can just find it. We do have a flying car mesh, which looks really.
No.
It's not quite DeLorean, but I don't know how we'd fit that in aesthetically. But I guess Back to the Future 3 had the whole Western train thing. I assume that's where we're going with that.
Oh, yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Maybe we could sneak a little DeLorean Easter egg in somewhere.
That'd be quite funny.
That roof. And we'll get rid of these windows. In fact, what would be quicker? I'll just go here and I'll just select in my world tree. So I think all of that stuff delete. Got rid of most of it. Cool. Okay, so we've got a bit more of an empty slate again now. I'm just going to extrude all the way through here. And get rid of those windows. And again on this side. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is create a like a bit of a coal bin in the middle. So I'm going to need to sort of push the sides in and create like a walkway either side. I think that's going to be the best way to do that. So if I use my remove tool here, I should be able to sort of just sever off these edges like that. I'll move my brush and do the same on the other side.
Wow, that does sound thundery.
Yeah, I'm getting all big lightning flashes as well, so it's all kicking off here. Okay. We'll move this across. And then let's just do the same, make a bit of a walkway, and then we can do a bit of painting here to sort of change this from wood to a more metal look. Okay. Delete this door, actually, we don't want a door there, and I'll just extrude that closed. Okay, cool. So I guess this might be made of wood, but we'll go for a different color on this. Let's go. We've got these different variant colors of floorboard. This darker one is one I've used. Yeah, let's go for them. Okay, and paint that all the way across. So using the paint operation, we'll just, anything inside this brush will get painted. It won't actually add or subtract any voxels. We'll just paint. Okay, and then we'll use the same again. So the shape tool with the remove, kind of carve out a big hole in the middle of this. Okay, so hopefully that's starting to resemble some sort of like coal bin type thing, and obviously we now need to fill it with some coal. What have we got for that? How about some onyx? I think onyx always looks pretty good. Let's create like a flat bed, so we'll just pen some across on this side, and then we'll extrude that across. Okay, so yeah, we get a bit of a coal type effect from that. It looks quite good. I wonder actually if this is a bit tall. So if I come and stand here, yeah, it might be good if we could see over that. So let's just extrude it all down a bit. Okay, I could use my volume select here. So if I want to move some voxels that aren't actually part of their own voxel mesh, I can just volume select them like this, hit the move operation, and that kind of re-grabs them and lets me just position them like so. Okay. So if we go back to our character now, yeah, we can see that we can actually see over this. That works quite nicely. So what I want to do now is let's just get rid of Might just hide this film grain for a sec. Clean it up a little bit. Okay, cool. We want a bit of a stairway here, so let's add that. So we can use our line tool. The line tool is a really nice way of being able to create kind of quick steps. So we'll go for a, let's go for probably wood again actually. I imagine a lot of these things would have been made out of wood.
Yeah, that sounds about right for the Western frontiers.
Yeah. I'm sure they had plenty of wood available. Okay, so yeah, so using our line tool, we're quite quick to create sort of stair patterns, and you can get them nice and straight and accurate. And also you could do that, and then you could combine that with your extrude tool. Extrude across. So there's various ways you can achieve a lot of these shapes. Pull this a bit more. Cool. And there we have a coal bin. I'll take that. Okay, and then we can return back to our previous carriage. So let's go back to our templates in the library.
Ooh, that looks nice. That does look very cool.
What's that? The coal bin?
The coal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's worked out. The Onyx works really well. I don't know if you want to maybe sink some meshes into that to make it a bit more of a sort of interesting surface.
Yeah,
There might be some rocks that you can get to stick out and do various things. Yeah, that's starting to come together quite nicely there.
Was that onyx you said?
That's Onyx, yeah. Onyx is like
Okay.
one of my favourite ones because it just reflects the scene really nicely. Oh,
Yeah.
the colours. This is a really good one if you wanted to get like a coloured light and you kind of move it around on top of it. And yeah, you just see some really interesting reflections and stuff. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to take a copy back. Copy. Yeah, let me know when you've done that. Maybe Adam, if you wanted to template that one up and start finishing off the train with maybe another coal wagon and another sort of carriage when you're ready.
Yeah, sure. Just one minor thing. I think you broke its link to the template a bit early because the wheels weren't on. So,
oh, I see. That's okay. Oh,
but
there's
that's all right.
wheels on one side, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's got some wheels, so I'll just
It can
fix
limp.
those up.
Okay, cool. Cheers. So a couple of other things then. Let's start thinking about gameplay. So we can do things like changing, obviously, kind of camera perspective. So we figured this one might be quite a good one to show. It might work quite well from a first-person perspective. It's little kind of tight corridors, so first-person would work. So if I wanted to make my game first-person, all I'd need to do is go to the player template, and if I just pull this up. So here we get all these options available to us that we can adjust on the player. So we can change their camera type, whether they can use the eye and sight, so the secondary action, how high they can jump, how fast they can run. All these things are just available here. Can be changed in the Lua code as well. So you might have things like speed boosts and jump pads and all that sort of stuff that you can tap into these things with. But for now, we know we want to change just a couple of things here. So we want the camera type to be action still. But we want to force the camera perspective to be first person. So players do normally, you get a choice of whether you play first person or third person, but some creators might want to force a specific angle. So that's what we can do there. I think that was all we'd need to do for that one. The weapon itself. So we saw we had this sort of target shooter template, and that kind of comes as this laser gun. Which doesn't quite fit the sort of setting we're going for. So simple couple of changes to the properties. Again, no code changes, and we can start to make this feel like the weapon we want in our game. So I'm just going to scroll all the way back up to the top of this list and search 6 shooter. And we see that gives us this nice kind of Western revolver, which fits our game a little bit more. So we'd want to change a couple of things on the gun script. So this looks like a big, scary, kind of huge script, but don't worry, this is kind of a way that we've made our own kind of gun script logic that you can use across all sorts of different game types. So as I said at the start, this game actually the guns are non-lethal, so they're just kind of shooting the targets, and all that stuff is kind of customizable through this Lewis script. So you're not having to spend necessarily time creating your own weapons. You could take this default one that we provide and start to tweak it to sort of fit the gameplay that you're aiming for. So first thing here, the shot sound. We don't want it to be a retro laser. We want it to be, here we are, because it's remembered my filter from before with the 6. So let's add 6 shooter fire. But we don't want a blue muzzle flash. We'd want that to be one of our other ones. So we'll go for a small orange muzzle flash, a bit more realistic. Okay, the friendly name. We don't want it to be laser gun, so we'll just call that a 6 shooter. And then the icon that appears, we'd need to go to our mesh library over here. Search for our 6 shooter and just drag that in. So then that knows which thumbnail to use in the inventory at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so now we've got that. Let's have a look at our target. So the target is this hologram shield, and again that would fit certain gameplay types, but that doesn't quite fit what we're going for, so let's make some adjustments to that. To see a couple of suggestions come through. So from Raf, maybe a bull skull randomly scattered. So I don't know if you've got any sort of bones and skulls and things scattered about the terrain, but that's maybe one thing you guys could look at doing. And the other one is a watering hole. So whether there's some water kind of you could add to one of the terrains with a bit of rocks and kind of an oasis type thing around it. Something to think about.
Yeah. Okay. Maggie, does that sound like a challenge you're up for?
I'll try. We have a very little time.
Yeah.
In fact, let's both try.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how they look.
Cool. I'm just on one more carriage and then I will come and join you.
Oops. I just realized that propagates to all the voxel meshes unless I make it a unique one.
Okay. So I think this scarecrow is a pretty nice nice target for this setting. I'm going to remove this. So you might have noticed before when I shot the target, we saw kind of a small token appear. It's actually an example of kind of the multiplayer power of Crayta and the way we can code things around the server versus the client. So specific players can have things look different to other players. So in this game, when I shoot a target, I see an entity or an icon or something appear, and other players don't see that. They only see that on their own game, because obviously this is a time trial where we're not racing other people, we're kind of only racing our own time. So if I shoot a target, Adam won't want to see that it's been hit because he hasn't necessarily hit it yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change this from a mesh and I'm going to introduce a light instead. So when we hit the scarecrow, we're going to see a light appear on its face. So quite simply just add a light here. Okay, we'll drag that up to kind of near its face and we can see that starts to light up. I'm going to make it a spotlight and rotate that around and position it to kind of aim up at the scarecrow slightly. Now, the nice thing here, we get this kind of this icon around to show us the sort of parameters of the cone of the spotlight. So I can start tweaking some things here, like I'm going to bring that angle in. And we see now kind of a bit more representative of what we'd expect of a spotlight. Move that away. Down. Okay, so that's still shining quite far. So the attenuation, so the distance the light will travel, let's bring that right down to about 100, and then we can back up here. Okay, we'll make the light much more intense. Let's go for 100, lower the exponent. So all these things again are just little figures that we can tweak, and if you don't even necessarily understand what they do, just the trial and error and playing with them and seeing the effects and changes in real time, is a really nice way to learn these things. Yeah, that should do it. So we see this green light appear. So what I'm actually going to want to do is make this light invisible now, because what will happen is when we shoot the target, the light will come back on. And to make that happen, it's just a simple case of updating this this property just here, this hit marker entity. So if I just drag this down now, all the scripts are in place with the starter game to know that when this target gets shot on that specific client, let's turn the light back on. Okay, so I think one of the final things I need to do before we can have a final preview of this is start just working out where to put these targets along the train. So that's the front, isn't it? Okay, so let's go back to the beginning.
Maggie, quick one for you. I've extended the train and therefore I've added a few more chunks to the end, so you might need to redecorate a
Cool.
few extra bits.
I'll be there.
Cool, cheers.
Okay, and here's our big scarecrow target. Let's start placing these. This orange locator is our start, isn't it? Okay. Adam, would you mind placing some checkpoints throughout the...
Yeah, I've put down
trains?
a midway checkpoint and then placed the end checkpoint.
Cool. I think we need
Do you
one
think
near the
that'll be enough,
start still. I think it got removed by mistake. I don't know if I did it or what.
Oh
but
no,
yeah.
there's still the start one, sorry. We just haven't put that into a carriage yet.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. If you could position that.
Yeah. Ooh. One of these carriages looks very posh. That's cool. Although I will have to move one of the tables so that
Go
it
for
doesn't
it.
get in the way. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, Chris sat at that table. Okay. We can get a couple up here. So we're standing up on the coal. Oh, okay, that looks really nice. Yeah, so you guys have sort of made that look a little bit more realistic, a bit more of a bumpy onyx terrain. Okay. Might place a couple more of these in basic mode. So actually run around here. Let's move my character inside.
Cool. This map's coming together quite
Oh
nicely. It's looking good.
no.
Oh, what?
He's hiding in the
Oh.
coal.
Of course.
He had to be here somewhere, I guess.
Great.
It's just kind of become the thing to do now, hasn't it?
Yeah. The fan favorite, I guess. Okay, and then that's the end there, I guess. So, two more targets in here. Cool. Okay, so how are we looking? I think we're ready for a quick preview. Check. Have we introduced a third checkpoint?
Yes.
So let's just...
I've just noticed.
yeah, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I've just noticed there's two targets in the sky, so it could be quite hard to hit those.
Let's
So do
delete
you wanna...
those two. Yeah.
Okay, sure. I'll just get rid of them.
I'm just going to update on the race user script to tell it that the checkpoint 3 is now the last one.
Cool, yeah. And I will update the moving terrain since we made it a bit longer, so we just need to adjust how far it thinks it's going. Because it's now going that many.
That's starting to look really cool there, guys.
I think that's correct. One sec. Okay. Right, the moving terrain should be good to go. The train's good to go.
Yeah. I think
Targets and checkpoints are good to go.
yeah, I think we're ready for a test. The only thing we haven't got is any music, unless you want to throw some music in there quickly.
Oh yeah.
That would be
Shall I
good.
chuck a sound entity under the terrain quickly?
Go for it, yeah.
Mhm.
Back to what I might do is I'm going to edit this template, this carriage template, and add I think we've got a sound which is specifically for trains, which would be a shame to not use.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
we have.
We've got a few, haven't we? So yeah, idle loops for trains.
Oh, nice. We should definitely use that, please.
Yeah, cool. I'm going to chuck one of these outside. I guess it would be noisier outside, but then inside it's a bit more muffled.
I've just seen we've got mine carts.
Yes.
Oof, we could have one of those in the desert.
Yeah. Like an abandoned mining area.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
we have time for that.
Okay, so that should have applied to a couple of the main characters at least. So, okay, you guys ready to go?
Yeah, we got some nice music playing now. Some tension music. You changed the gun to the 6-shooter, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
I think we're all good to go. See.
Yeah. Shall we?
Okay, I'm going to press F5.
Cool.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Whoa, that looks good.
Ooh.
Was this you, Maggie?
This is foggy. Yeah.
Nice
This is
job.
the rich people carriage, I think. Yeah.
I just realised
This is really foggy.
I've called it a sizz shooter, not a 6-shooter, but we'll just ignore that.
Watch out, I've got a sizz shooter.
What is a sizz shooter?
Cool. So we can see here that I'm forced into first person. We got a green light when we shoot our scarecrows, and this terrain looks really good, guys. Oh, I just saw a Raph, the dragon, fly by. Okay, go, go, go.
Oh no, I missed him. Oh, I like being on the coal carriage because it really feels like you could fall off at any minute. You're so
Yeah, I
close to the
know.
end.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, I saw Raph as well. I've seen a few Raphs.
You just see that the glowing eyes appear across, like, past in
Yeah.
the distance every so often. Oh, there he is, staring at me.
No, I missed a target. I'm gonna go back to the start.
13 out of 13. My best
What did I
time.
miss?
My best time remains 5 seconds when we only had 2 targets to go.
Yeah. Oh well, we can reset that quite easily.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, yeah, this is starting to look. This looks really good. Really nice, and I think we're kind of coming up to the end there anyway. So that's been just over an hour. You know, I always find it amazing how quick we get these things together. Super excited to see kind of what people could do when they get their hands on this. Oh, there's the watering hole. I've just noticed go past.
Oh yeah, it's a bit quick, isn't it?
It is a bit quick.
It's a very fast train.
But
So. Cool. The music's nice as well. I think we've done a good job with the music there. So good choice. Quite dramatic. There's another Raph in the distance. So okay, cool. Well, I think that's probably a good point to start wrapping this stream up then. So thanks you two for joining in. That's been a lot of fun. So yeah, I'll catch up with you two later on. Okay, cool. So hopefully that's been an interesting and exciting stream for you. Again, we've managed to put things together, so relatively quickly. Amazing is to say, like, each time we do this sort of exercise, just how quick we get these things together. We kind of have an idea, and it makes you really excited to see what you guys can do when you get your hands on Crayta. So if you haven't already followed us here or subscribed to us here, make sure you do subscribe to us on YouTube. We have a lot of these sorts of streams coming up. And we have quite a back catalogue building up as well, so you guys can go through that and start to learn even more about Crayta. If you had any questions that didn't get answered, or anything you think of after the stream, then do make sure you head over to our Discord. We do our best to answer as many questions there as we can. Over the sort of previous weeks, again, we've had a bit of a back catalogue of answers building up, and we've got an FAQ there as well. So that's just crayta.com/discord. We've got our Twitter and our Instagrams, so if you just search for Crayta Game on those platforms. This week, we're not going to be streaming on Friday. We're actually going to be streaming on Thursday this week. So if you do want to check in with us again on Thursday, then it'll be sort of same time as usual. We may start the pre-stream slightly earlier, so if you wanted to get in and hang around in the stream a bit earlier, we're just trying things slightly different this week. So if you do join our Discord, you'll get kind of all that information shared with you anyway. And yeah, I think that kind of wraps things up. So thank you for watching. Thank you for your suggestions. And again, thank you for all the mods, for all your answers and all your questions. So, and we'll see you on Thursday.